Good afternoon to all. Now we now we are here for the day 2 and session 3. Here we have Mr. Narayanan sir. Mr. Narayanan is a mentor and head in Anavadya Software Private Limited, Bangalore. He is having 13 plus years of experience in the complete software development lifecycle with project management expertise. He is also having the top skills on fintech, blockchain, and hyperledger. Now he is going to present in the topic data visualization using Matplotlib. Welcome, sir. Sir, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Hi, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Narayan, and as Madam said, I mentor a startup called Anavadya, and I'm holding a position of Director of Engineering in another company called Card 91. So today, I'm going to take a session on data visualization. So let's start the session. So if anybody has any issues in listening to me, please do let me know. I can be a bit louder as well. Okay, so as part of this FDP, you would have started learning about data analytics as a topic. You would have understood what data is, what analytics is, what data analytics is, and how does it is important for from a tech perspective, what is happening around the world, etc. And you would be learning much more of these topics in the coming days as well. So now I'm going to take one of the interesting topics from this, which is visualization. So as we all know, data is an important part of any process. Anything that is derived in the real world, be it the sales, demand, supply, the interest, everything from the Flipkarts to from the Google Maps to everything that you see today are driven by data. So data is playing a huge role in this. So uh, how does a visualization makes an impact in this data is what we are going to touch upon. So let me go step by step to give my version of what is data, what is analytics, what is big data, why an AI is required, what is visualization, etc. So let me start with data. Data is nothing but what we have around us. Anything that we hear, anything that we see, anything that we write, anything that we speak is a data. So earlier, in the initial era of software engineering, data had a very limited impact. Everything was driven by process. Process is one thing that was making sure that the entire operations or any company run. So that is how automation started. When we were in the era of automation, early 80s or mid 80s, the process was more driven by the complete entire operations was derived by process, which means a person who believes this is right will define this is how a sales has to happen, this is how the production has to happen, this is what is the volume that I need, this is how it is. And then automation came in picture. Automation basically followed the process that has been fed to it. Then there were pros and cons of having this. The main important aspect of what has happened is there were businesses which started falling down because they were not having the actual reality of the ground, of what the exact ground needs, what is needed in the actual reality. For example, um, a textile industry of big scale has fallen down because they were not able to cater to a demand at a particular time. And the same the scenario of another textile industry which has fallen down because they had so much of goods which has not been sold for 3 to 4 months. All this happened because it was driven by process, and they were not having a clear clue of when to do. Let's take an so what has happened is then people understood the importance of data. So earlier, data is a collection part. Then there was a process that there was a process that has been driven on top of it, on why this data cannot be computed and see what it really tries to tell us. So it is like, in a simple layman language, it is as simple as that. The more you define things, you might be wrong. Sometimes you have to listen what people say, and then you define what the next course of action is. That's what is AI is. Artificial intelligence is nothing but, I have a set of data, I know what is the process is all about. When I try to compare data and process together, combine data and process together, I produce a result which is more valuable than process alone bringing in an information. For example, the example of a paint company where I was earlier working as a consultant from a reputed organization. We had a paint company. So their important thing is the sales volume of a paint increases at the time of Diwali and Sankranti. At the time of Diwali in the northern part of India, and the Sankranti at the southern part of India, because this is the time most of the families would love to paint the houses. So the production has to have a, heavy so let me continue from where I left. So data makes an important part of your decision making system. So the example that I was telling, the peak time for any painting company was the Deepavali and the Sankranti time. The reason being, the tradition of people in the north is that they paint their house before the Dhanteras, which is a day before Diwali, and the same in south they do it in Sankranti. So we built an AI system to this is a known truth across world that in the Indian painting industry, this is
Sir,
when the
please
data.
share your screen, sir. Your screen is not visible.
This is where it is a known truth that the data is going to be utilized vastly. But what we had done is, what is the next immediate times that when a house is getting painted, or the next immediate demand of painting is there, because a company or a production unit cannot run only for a 2 months period, right? So to predict this, we had collected the data for the 10 years time. We collected the data projection for last 10 years, and we identified that crucial period for painting the house other than these two periods is the May and June. The reason being, that's where the sales were peaking up. One is basically because of the faster drying of paints when it has been painted at the exteriors, and people usually take more vacations at this period. So this is one interesting aspect of finding how my sales is going to be driven. The other things, as we all know, we had just completed the Olympics. Olympic is an important event across sports arena. Everybody believes that, and everybody knows that Olympic is a major event. But do you know how much AI plays a role in Olympics? AI is an important integral component now in every sports. In fact, the unforgettable event that any Indian would have cherished in this thing is, we got a gold on a javelin throw for India. So this event, the training of Neeraj Chopra had its own AI based.
हम पूछे थे तो बोला तो दो टॉपिक मेरा था तो हम नहीं स्टार्ट किए सेमेस्टर का नहीं स्टार्ट किया
So his throw was very much measured by his trainers on the area of data analysis. They had done a data analysis of what is his strength, what is his weakness, identified that his elbow, 2 3 years back, they identified that his elbow is bending lot more than it was supposed to be. They corrected it, and today we have a gold medalist in this. And sprinters, track and field event, many of the US sprinters uses the shoes which are AI driven, which has an internal chip in it, which identifies the behavior of a sprinter on the run, what he runs, where is the most pressure that he puts in. So AI is now an integral component, be it a business, be it entertainment, be it shopping, or be it sports. Shopping, we all know, we all buy something from Flipkart, Amazon, etc. The moment you purchase something, you see an element which comes below saying that, hey, people who had bought this also bought this. That is nothing but an AI. They say that the best for you, this would be the best combo. So it prefers your combo. When you buy a phone, it says that you the people who bought this phone also bought a screen guard of this thing, and a phone case of from this company. Then it tries to give as much as AI to give a sale to them, where they can sell additional item, and from a customer perspective it gives you an experience that when I buy something, I know what additionally I have to buy. So it gives a convenience for us. So this is on the e-commerce side of the story. Entertainments, be it Netflix, or any OTT platforms that you go, you are even a booking ticket booking sites like Book My Show, etc., takes you to an interesting aspect of showing you what is the show that you would like, the show that you would be more interested in. This is the genre of the movie which you watched yesterday. All this brings in a kind of an AI to you, near to you, which we all know. And then the other example being a Google Maps. Go to any shop and come back. It says, hey, do you want to review this shop? How was your experience at this particular place? This is again driven by AI, which will help somebody else who want to know about the shop in the future. They can basically, these data are basically used to analyze and bring information. So there are multiple such instances which we can talk about, which is happening. So as we all know, the cricketers who are present in past. We may all know a cricketer called Anil Kumble. He runs an AI-based company which does a performance analysis of a particular player. So they basically add a chip into a player's bat when they practice in the net. It
Sir, slide
identifies
is not changing, sir.
I meant to come to the slide, ma'am. I'll just speak over the introduction, then I'll get into the slide.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So, so Anil Kumble has his own company, which basically has a chip in there, which keeps a chip in a bat, which identifies the behavior of the player and understands the shortcome, which is the delivery, which is very difficult for him. So to play, and it gives him what is his weaknesses, where he need to improve, etc. So all said, this is an data that needs to be analyzed. This is what is data analysis can bring into. We see much more good hard hitting batsmen, new stroke plays, everything coming in cricket. Seeing players breaking records in athletics or any sports for that matter. Lot of purchases happens through online. All this was possible, is possible because of the data that has been done and an effective data analysis that has been put in to bring in a result. So you would have gone through a course on data analysis. Now you understand that the data is there, it has been analyzed. What is the best form of representing a data? That is what is going to be my topic, and which I'm going to take you through with a session on how do you do it. I will share whatever the materials that I prepared will be shared with you. So data visualization plays a crucial part. When I say I have so much of data that has come in, the important aspect of any data is how do I visualize it? How do I see the data? So if I collected 1,000 characteristics about a particular product, which can be a mobile phone or an headset, if I show you all the 1,000, you would not be able to determine or doing. You will not be able to do anything from that. So it needs to be represented to you in a way. So let's now see what are all the various visualizations that are available when it is a graph. What are all the various aspects where it is used. So with that, I'll move on to the slide now. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the topic that I'm going to take, I'm jumping into the topic which is data visualization using Matplotlib, which is a library which is used in Python to plot a graph with available data. So what can visualization bring in? With the data, the visualization can bring in better understanding of data, faster decision making, and quick identification of inaccuracies and error in the data. So let me go through point by point. Better understanding of data. What is the better understanding of data? Is, as I told you, if there is 1,000 elements or 1,000 products, I need to understand which is the fast moving product out of my portfolio. Then the better way of implementing it is in a chart saying that out of your entire product list that you have in this, the particular product, which is product A, is selling much better. So a graph would show it in a user understandable manner, telling that this accounts to a sale of 60% of what your entire structure is, entire product portfolio is. So this is one way of saying. On the sports arena, you are better player on all the things except a ball which comes as an off break, which comes directly to your stump from the offside. A javelin thrower throws a javelin, and it says that everything is fine at your side, but your height of elevation is much beyond that, much beyond. So most of your energy goes to take it up rather than taking it straight. So these can be analyzed better when the visualization has been put in with various characteristics. And faster decision making. The moment I know what is the problem, where it is not, where there is an issue which is not moving, I can either think about replacing a product, or I can try to tweak the product in such a way that it is able to sell more than what it is selling currently. Then comes the identification of inaccuracies and error in the data. So the moment I put the graph, I know what are all the data. Assume that millions of records that has been collected from a particular shop, from Amazon on end of the particular day's sale. Not all data is going to be valid for us. There could be some sales which would have been bounced, which means sale, even though the sales is clocked, that would have been a failure transaction. You buy it, the payment is not succeeded, but it is accounted as a sales. So that those are called as inaccuracies. Errors in terms of multiple booking. You book for a product, it booked twice, etc. So this is one such example where the data inaccuracies can be there. The moment I plot it on a graph, on a right graph, I would be able to easily understand this. I can be able to easily understand what are all the errors, and the decision making would be much more accurate because I will remove those errors from the system and rerun the graph visualization analysis. The data becomes much more stronger. An information that human brain can process information very easily, faster than any other means, when it is in the form of pictorial or graphical form. Any data that is in a graphical or pictorial form, our human brain has a capability of understanding it faster than a data that is shown in a table. So again, coming to say what we had seen, what is visualization? What is data visualization? It is as simple as that the data which is shown in a visualization format, which is a pictorial or a graphical format. So pictorial is a data which has been drawn in an infographics or a way of representing on a picture, and the graphical format is having an axis based graphs, which is an X, Y, Z, 3-dimensional, 2-dimensional graphical. graphs in which we plot this information. So both are called as visualization. So it is another simplest form of giving an explanation for data visualization is showing a data where the information is shown on a way where the data is not represented, but actually the result of the data is represented. So how do we do data visualization? What are the important steps that are involved in data visualization? Okay, so for data visualization, the first step that we follow is basically collecting the data. The data that we, for any visualization for that matter, or any analysis for that matter, we need data. The first and foremost important data information is collecting large volume of data. Any data which is very little would give me inaccuracies in my analysis. The more the data, the analysis would be more accurate. The process would see various data cases, and we always suggest to collect as much as volume to represent. So a data of a huge volume is very much required for data analysis as well as for the data visualization perspective. The more data it is, the chart would be more interesting, more informative as well. The next process is the next important aspect is cleaning your data. So even though you collected a lot of data, not all data is going to be relevant. There would be some error cases, edge cases, there would be some failure data, there is some corrupted data, etc. As a responsible person who analyze the data, it's your responsibility to clean up the information that comes to you. That is made as more clear data sets where there is no missing data, there is no anomalies, etc. So missing data is basically a data which is required, a particular field which is a decision making field in your Excel of data or a data set. But in one particular row that data, one or few particular rows the data is missing, then it would definitely impact your result. Empty data will have a zero effect on the result. So it is always better to cleanse those data. Doing more good, it would do more bad for the result. The result might have an impact. Anomalies is data not in a processing vector that is not cleaner, not in a format that it is required. Other junk data, boundary conditions, etc., are considered to be the anomalies. So those data would also be need to be corrected. For example, you collect a data where there is information of a percentage of the marks. It says that 250%, 250 over there, then which means the data is an anomaly. The data, nobody can secure 250 marks in a subject. So those are anomalies that needs to be cleaned up. So as a responsibility of a data analyzer is not only collecting information and running analytics on top of it. Before running any of those analytics, his or her responsibility is to ensure that the data is cleansed. So the process of cleansing the data is very important. Otherwise, your result will might have a major impact. The result might become inaccurate or more inaccurate based on the data, non-clean data that is having in the system. Then the next important thing is what kind of charts that you are going to choose, because this is what is going to make an impact. There are different types of charts which we will be seeing in the coming slides. So this makes a very big impact on the data visualization. For example, a data which should be shown on a time series or a series for a matter, telling that the sales on every month or so, you cannot show a donut or a pie chart over there, which might not give a clear indication. Instead, it can be a warm chart. The same way, if there is something that you are trying to derive about the majoritarian, that is the percentage based this thing, then the time series or a bar chart might not make a big impact. Rather, you might need to use charts like pie or donut chart. So these are some of the decisions that you need to take. It is the responsibility of the data visualization team to ensure a right chart or a graph is shown so that the information is very clearly communicated. So basically the data visualization is more used for a CXO kind of a user, a CEO, CTO, CIO, CFO, etc., to show the growth progress of the company. If we don't show right information, then the whole exercise of doing the data analysis might go for a toss. So it is very important and evident on what kind of chart we are choosing. That is going to have a larger role in terms of what result that meeting or a discussion is going to bring upon. The decision making is usually dependent on the chart type. Then prepare the data. So you now decided which is the chart, your data is cleaned up. Now you would be preparing the data to find what is the decision making fields in this, which should be an x-axis, which should be an y-axis. If it is three-dimensional, which is the z-axis. How do I do, if there is two data sets, how do I compare last year sale, this year sale? What is it going to be a donut chart? Then what is the volume that I'm going to take to calculate the percentage? What is the aggregation strategy that I'm going to use? All these things would basically bring in terms of preparing the data. So I understand what is the column, how do I bring in, what is that, if there is a new column that needs to be built by manipulating or by doing an mathematical calculation of two different fields, then those are all to be done before visualizing the data, before putting it into a graph. So you preparing data would basically define what kind of fields, what information that needs to be shown, and you would be deciding on those aspects. Then finally comes the visualized data. This is where you would be visualizing the data. Now you know which chart, which is the decision making parameter, and you have a clear, cleansed, no anomaly, no missing data with you. While combining all these things, you will be able to visualize the data. Now you can apply different charts within the set of charts that you want to, with colors, etc. You can basically play around and do it. Next, what is Matplotlib? Matplotlib is basically a library which gives you a 2D graphs. This is not a 3D graph. So Matplotlib is a 2D graph library which can show a static, little bit of animated and interactive visualization in Python. So this is a Python library used along with Python to show data in a two-dimensional format with a static or a dynamic content. It can show with animated, little bit of animation and interactions added to it. So the beauty of Matplotlib is it is very easier to use. I would be showing you the examples as well. We would be having a lot many charts that will be shown, and building those charts are very easier. And once you have a right parameters and right data, making this chart is very easier. So we will be seeing that in that. So in nutshell, it is very easier to build charts. So PyPlot is a sub-library of Matplotlib. We would be using PyPlot, which is nothing but one more smaller library, which will have functions to create charts. This will help us to, which will have all the functions that is required to create a bar chart, worm chart, histogram, etc. All those charts can be used. These functions would help us to create a chart very easier. So what are all the charts, type of graphs that we can show? So in this, while showing the graphs, we have multiple types of graph. As I told you, we have a time series plot where The data is shown in a time series, month on month, date on date, time on time, all these things, the stock market, the price of a cryptocurrency, the sale of particular goods in a company report, the weather forecast, all these things can be shown in a time series slot. A line plot is basically to show how the things behave at a different dimension. It could be geographical or any other things where the x-axis is not only dependent on time, and this shows this shows a line which keeps moving based on the parameters that has been selected on x and y. It can be x-axis can be a product and y can be the sales. X can be the month, Y can be the revenue. So all these things can be plotted on a line plot. Basically plots the information on this. Area plot is little more than a line plot. Instead of showing a line that is oscillating, if we have multiple data sets, we can use area chart which shows the which gives you a boundary color which shows how this volume has been playing around, how this volume of data has been come around. So that's the second chart that you see from the top. So this is also very majorly used to compare two products. How it is competitor analysis when two companies analyzing the competition. Many of us know Policy Bazaar, Bank Bazaar, etc. to which we use to compare the interest rate of two banks, etc. So the moving interest rates can be plotted in this and seen. Next comes the bar graph. Bar graph is known to all of us. We had seen this in many of the places. So it is basically a comparison graph where I say like top 5 things that is performing, top 10 sales product that has been in sale, top 5 colleges in the country, top 5 departments in a college, top 5 rank holders. All these things would be done on the bar graph. Multi-bar graph is again with multiple data sets. For example, if I want to compare 3 states, what is the top 5 colleges, then I can use multi-graph. So each state will have one and their parameter on what it is measured, like percentage or number of passed out students, placement, whatever the value that is can be an x-axis. So each state value would be defined as one graph with a color, and we can define those different colors in legends. So we can say red belongs to a state, black belongs to a state here, and we can have such many parameter for this, many data sets for this to show this. Ideally, graphs we discourage to show more than 4 data sets at one graph in bar charts because it might make it little more complicated. So I would from a personal preference perspective, I would say we would like to show I would say that my preference would be to show 3 to 4 data sets in one graph so that it doesn't look so clumsy. Then comes the Pi. Pi also has another version in the recent time which is called as Donut. So Pi and Donut is basically to show a penetration, the percentage. This can be used to see the interest rate, the product which is the revenue that I got, for example, from Amazon or a Flipkart. I can use this chart to see how much has been the online banking, net banking revenue that I got through, how many of them had used credit cards, how many of them has used UPI, and how many of them had used cash on delivery. So that kind of a thing, are telling that out of 100%, what is the person the out of 100 college, this thing, which department is performing well. So this department gets 80% of placement, the other department gets 20. So those kind of percentage based or decision making based charts are built on pie charts and donut charts. Then stack plot is another way of plotting where it is little more than it is. I would say it is kind of a combination of an area and line where we bring in sharp edge charts show the projection trajectories of anything that is growing. So linear growth or exponential growth of any data set can be represented in this format. And the histogram is basically a non-linear data which keeps modifying time by time. Between certain parameters can be shown in histogram. The example, if you see, there is a thing that is shown like how many people are between 30 to 50 marks, 50 to 65 marks, 65 to 80 marks. It's a grouping. It says it is not linear as well as in group. So I can show these data to show that this series of information is variable. So make concentrate on the lower part of this in terms of sales, in terms of the institutions. Concentrate this set of people, they are more. For example, 65 to 80% people are more, so that the result can be improved if we improve them. So 95 to 100 is very limited here. So how do I increase it? So these decision makings can be done with this. Scattered plot is basically to put multiple data sets around and say where it basically stands. So this would give a clear indication of where my data is, how does it work, etc. Am I audible? Just to check, as this is an online meeting, so I'll
Yes, sir.
keep checking
Yes,
this.
sir.
Yeah. So any questions till now here, or should I move it to the next slide? Okay. So now we will see the practicality of how the matplotlib pyplot would work. So the first everywhere we would be what we would doing is we would be importing the libraries that is required. In Python, we use a import command. Import command is basically used to import any libraries into our application, followed by the library name which we want to import. Here we are importing pyplot, which is a sub library of matplotlib. So as a variable name, so that that variable can be used within your application to define your your data and manipulate your data. Then we use pandas to again the same for data manipulation. We use pandas. And whatever I explained, the same thing on a explanation. Line chart are used to represent the relational between two data, that is x and y, of a different axis. So how do I write the code for this? A simple example. If you see, the x-axis shows a parameter 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Assume that this is a month-on-month sale for a product from the date of its launch, from a month 10th to month 20th. And y-axis is number of units that has been sold. So if I want to plot a line chart, the code is very simple. I use the variable which I defined here as plt, which is my pyplot. I basically use dot plot and give x and y, which is the x axis data, which is the y axis data, and say show the plot. That would show basically my result set on the screen. And if I want to add more information to this chart, I want to add more information to this chart. I want to add a title and I want to add a label to those axes. Then the title for the chart can be added with a simple function called plt.title, where I can put a title which displays on top of this, and x-axis label and y-axis label, where I can define what is the label that I want to use here. So in a line chart, basic line chart, then how do I add a title? How do I add a label for x-axis and y-axis? Then the next important thing that I wanted to show is basically if I wanted to show two lines in my line chart. It's not one data set. I wanted to show two data set. Then what we do is the x-axis remains the same. When I say two data set, only the y-axis would change because if complete thing changes, it's two different graphs. So at a given 10 to 20, two products, let's assume it's an AirPod and a headset sales, then this is the data of those is defined here. And I can define label for both of them, telling that label 1 is AirPods, label 2 is headset. Give a name as sales of earpods and health accessory, mobile accessories, and I can show a legend. Showing a legend is with a simple function called dot legend, which would basically show a legend on top of it, telling that the blue line that goes below is for AirPods and the orange line that goes above is for a headset. So that can be very clearly seen here. The visibility of this thing can be seen. A person who's seeing would know which is AirPods, which is headset, and which one is performing better. So that the decision on that can be taken rightly. Then the next point is basically in the plot, I can basically bring in the style of line. So if you see here, I basically define the color that I wanted to use, the line style I wanted to use, and then the marker. Each data points I want to use a marker. How do I do it? So this is possible in this, all with a simple function. We had not written a huge classes like Java, .NET or anything of that sort where we write an object, then we define a property, then assign it to this, etc. Here you basically directly put that onto the plot itself, saying that my color is K, K represents to black color, line is double dash, so everywhere the dashes are used, and the label is y1, then the marker is O, that is a dot, this thing, a circular dot. And in the plot 2 we just define a color and we say marker is dot. So you see a difference here. The marker dot is just an highlighter, a circle dot is little big in size, and then the lines here is a straight line because we have not defined the line style, whereas we defined a line style here. Based on that it changes. And then the other important thing that you can see here is there is a grid behind. In the previous chart we have not used grid. Here we say that I want to also see the grid, which means I can compare it at which level it is. It is less than 400, whereas it's very difficult to find here, is it 400 or less than 400. If I use a grid, I can basically see it is just below 400 and this is just above 400. So this, to make this accurate decision, I also make plot grid equal to true, so I can see this chart here as well. There can be much more things that can be added into the chart. So how the background style should be, whether we can add our own custom style, etc. So we can use this plot.style that use default is default style and BHMS to use BMH style, and we can define our styles as well. Sorry. So in the same plot, two different line can be plotted with different markers, different line styles, etc. And we can bring those information here as well. So the next, so this is how the various aspects of a line chart can be important. We started with a simple line chart, which is a line, and ended up in having a line chart with great legend, our own styling, different styling for each data sets, etc. The next one is area chart. The area chart is really similar to line
Sir,
chart,
there is a
except
question whether you
yeah,
can show it in editor. That is whether you can
yeah, I can
practice.
show it in an editor as well. I'll be showing it in an editor.
Okay, sir.
We have ample of time, so I have an editor, I have a code. Okay, so I will be showing here as well everything I prepared, whatever I'm showing there. I'll be showing all this data as well. So area chart is basically similar to the line chart, except the area between the x-axis and this thing is filled with the shading. So again, you will use fill between to ensure that it is filled. So if you want to fill x and y, z, this area is filled by using an additional one function which is called fill. Rest all is same as the previous chart which we had used. So that's the difference in the area chart. And next comes the bar plot. Bar chart is a graph that represents the category of data with rectangular bars with length and height that is proportional to the values. So here, if you see the same, here we have both line as well as bar plot. So what we had done is we had shown one data in line. The second data which we had for y2, we were trying to plot it in bar so that it looks a rectangular structure which is very easy to understand. To see the data visualization is much more cleaner here, showing that how the data has increased, what is the marginal of increase, etc. So again, for this, what we had done is we just did a bar plot. We had just did, instead of plot, we used bar. Sorry. So this is how you present the data. If you see here, it is a plot, it is a bar. Okay. And how, so next one, this is on the bar. We had seen line, bar, and we had seen bar, we had seen area, and we had seen the line chart. Now let's see another data set which we want to make a decision set. So we have a year of experience and there is a salary are listed. How do we would like to implement this data set? So the first one is basically to show a set of data which is on a data which is shared in an array. We plotted a graph. Next, we have a CSV file which has the data. And how do we show the data in the screen? If there is, it is in an external file. So for this, we use pandas. Panda is used to read the CSV file data, and we say that print the first 10 values, which means take the first 10 values, the first 10 values, and order them top 10 equal to df of sort values by ascending false. So we are sorting it as the value as in an descending order, and then we sort the index and sort the frame, converting. So after sorting, we'll get the top 10 employees with highest gross salary. Sorting experience is ascending order. So we are sorting it in an ascending order. And here the data is converted into frame so that it can be plotted on the graph. So once I have that, I basically define the plot labels, and then I say the name of this is salary of top 10 experience, top 10 salary with corresponding experience. Then I say this is salary, this is year of experience. As per this plot, more than for a person with a 34 years experience, the salary is around 1.4 lakhs per month. It's a very old data. It's not an actual data as on today, but in a very old data, this is how the plotting would happen. So basically, I take a data now from a CSV or an Excel which has already been processed. The data is processed, all anomalies, all missing data has been removed. Then this happens so that the data can be directly imported into my project using pandas. So, and then I can basically show them over here. So this is how the vertical bar plot can be shown, where the information here, if you see, there is an anomaly that the value for 25 years is not available. There is an anomaly of data here. So if you see, this is how you part in the same thing. The only thing is we take the top 10 index and then start defining it. Instead of taking it from a variable which is an array, we would be taking it from a CSV file from various this thing. I'll show you the CSV file as well. Next comes the horizontal bar chart. So bar H is what is used, rest all is same. I can plot it as an horizontal chart as well. Multiple bars is nothing but group data of multiple bars. Again, how do I take it? I can take fields of multiple data, arrange them by length x, length of x 1 2 3 4 5, then add the bar width, then plot the bar here. I'm plotting the bar 1, plotting bar 2, then the legends, title, etc. follow the same. So I can show this is the experience and this is the percentage of salary that they get. This salary percentage is in a decimal, so that's the reason you see it is less than 1. Next is a pie chart, which is a statistical data to display. The data is flown in slices. The very example that I had given is in an e-commerce site. You say that the data here plotted is one is net banking, one is net banking, the other one is UPI, cash on delivery, credit cards and debit cards, etc. So how do I plot this? Is the same set of data. I take it and say 0 to 5 years experience. What is the number of percentage of people that is available in an organization? 10 to 15 years, how many people? 5 to 10 years, how many people? This gives me a very clear information of how a data has been done. So you see, for I in expression, I is greater than 0 and less than 5. So which gives me the first data. Greater than 5 and less than 10. Greater than 10 and less than 15. So I take all these three as x1, x2, x3. My pi equal to x1, x2, x3. Then the labels are 0 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, 15 to 15 years, 3 different colors. And explode 0, 1, which means I'm just exploding this to show differently, telling that this is the data I wanted to, this is the highest data that is available. So I'm just exploding this data and then say the label, title, and then what is the labels, colors, whatever we defined above. Edge color is black. So to highlight this in a black, we show blue. Explode equal to explode, shadow equal to true. You can see a shadow here. So all these parameters can be set here whenever we want to set a new, whenever we want to set an additional parameters. All these are available as part of library itself. You don't have to define any new characteristics or parameters for this. Next comes the histogram, where I show a data. Histogram is basically shows a frequency on vertical axis, and the horizontal axis is another dimension. It can be any other dimension. Usually it has a bins where every bin has a minimum and maximum value. So the same data which you had 0 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, 10 to 15 years can be shown here as well. And the frequency is from 0 to infinite. It can be till an infinite as well. So that's what you would see here, number of people corresponding with the experience. 0 to, there in pie chart we have taken 0 to 5. Here we are splitting it by 2 years each. You can see the bins is 4, 6, 0 to 14. And then we say expression bin equal to bin. Histogram, edge color equal to black, this black, and color is crystal. And we say mean, color dark brown, and median is line. So the median is line, the mean is this thing. And we define the whole data here. So legends edge color is black, K as I told you is black. So it says the median line is this. This is the center of line. Median is nothing but the center of data. So the total experience is 14 years. So 7 is the almost 6 point is the data. So this is approximately 6 is an average experience of the company in the employee. So when you do an average of this, median of this, then it is approximately 6 point, in this case it is around 6.2. If I'm correct, 6.2 to 6.3 is the median value. Then the scatter plot diagram, where each value in the data set is represented by a dot scatter plots. So this is to show how the data is affected when you are showing some information. This can be used for the COVID spread. This can be used for the sales results, etc., to show how it is scattered each year. So it is not serious. It is suddenly increasing, suddenly decreasing. So to show a data which is more non-linear in nature, we can use this. This would give a clear indication. So experiences versus salary. If you see a person with 1 year salary is around 60,000, whereas there are people in the organization who are with 2 years who are still getting 40,000. So this is a non-linear data set. And the axes are linear, the data is non-linear here. So how do I plot this? I do a scatter, xy and s equal to 50, h color, line color alpha. I define what is the h color, line color alpha. Then I define all the labels, etc. Next is a stack this thing. Idea of stack is to show the part of the whole. So how does it work? So if you see the same chart which is shown, like the data of this subset is from this to this, on top of the data of subset is this. So this will give you a clear indication of how a data is. So above 8 years experience, this is the data. Below this thing is this thing. So it is between 2000 to 2017 to 20. The salary has been slowly increased from 2017 to 20. The above 8 years salary had always been increased from 60,000 till it is 1.5 lakhs, whereas the below thing is from 17 to somewhere around 62. So how do we plot this? We plot it using stack plot, stack plot. Year as a parameter on the y-axis, salary below 8 years, salary below above 8 years, and labels and colors is what we are pushing. The label and this remains the same: x-axis label, y-axis label, title, legend. This remains the same for all the charts. The only thing is that chart type differs and the data set that goes in will differ for each charts. And another working time series plot where we show how goods is sold between each years. So from 1992 it was having a sale capacity of 22,000. The same product in 2017 it is around 57,000. So how does the sale of this particular product has happened is here. Data index, what is the date, what is the price, what is the marker color, etc. can be defined. So this is to basically take how we load it from the CSV, time series, date time, and the other important aspect to look is plot date. This is the normal line graph is plot, this is plot date. So this brings into the presentation end. Now I would quickly walk you through the code. So for code, what I do is I use something called Google Colab. Google Colab is one of the online editor where you can write your Python code, do data analysis and data visualization. The same way, if you are doing within your physical system, you have Jupyter Notebook. You have other tools which you basically can use in your things. So all these tools will allow you to basically do all this process. I am using this because it is very easier to use for a beginner to start with something. This would be very informative. If you want to do it in your system itself, you can use Anaconda Spider. You can use Jupyter Notebooks. All these would support. The code is more or less the same. That doesn't change. So you can go to Google Colab, create a new project and import your sample data and try. So now I had done the same thing here. Whatever the data I had shown in the Excel, I had done that. Now I will show you step by step how to execute. Okay, the first thing, as I said, I'm importing the matplotlib pyplot into my project, and I'm telling the style that I'm going to use is default. And be it in Jupyter, be it in Colab, if you define codes as block, each block has to execute. If you directly go and execute a specific block, it will not work. It is a series of event. So that's the reason I executed this. Then the next thing is the line plot, where I'm plotting the line. If you see, it has a variable which is defined here is basically used here. So I defined a set of data here, and I defined a set of x-axis, y-axis, and I'm plotting it here. So if I run this, I can see the data result instantaneously here. So you would be able to see the data here. So in a simple, to define a simple graph, all I need to write is have an x-axis data, y-axis data, then import a matplotlib, and then define a default style, say plot x and y and show. This will basically show me the data very clearly on the graph. The next thing is, if I want to add little more information, example, data for y. So I have a title, and then I say that x is x can be months, and y is basically the sales. So the moment I run this here, additionally I added all the titles for each axis. I added this thing, and the title, the entire title for this particular this thing chart. This is the title for the chart, and this is an x-axis label and a y-axis label. Rest all the plot show this information is the same. Next, what we can do is we can basically plot two different set of data in the same graph. That is data y1 and y2. Let's assume y1 is previous year, y2 is current year. Unit number of units sold. Oh, sorry. Once number of units sold. So here I plot two different graphs. It is not one. It is not one, two different data. I am comparing the last year sales data and this year sales data. The current year is better than last year's data, which you can see as part of the plot. And this is the number of units sold. Last year, the sale, this year's sale is better than last year. This is what a company's director, chairman, whoever it is would like to see. So that is the precise example that I'm trying to bring it here, that comparing the last year sale and this year's sale. And next, coming to the topic of specifying a color and style for each of them. If I want to specify a different color and different style, okay. So if I basically do, there are three different set of data. Line style is this. So after I make it blue. So I can change it to blue. The label can be previous here, current here. So I can change this here. What additionally we are doing is specifying our colors and style. For each of these, we are specifying what is our line color, what is our line style, and what is our marker. So I just do this. Then if you see, the rest of the data is the same. So it is gradual increase in the data. The next thing is defining this theme or a style, which is another style which is called as BMH, and then I'm adding a grid also to it. So the grid is being visible here. Again, I can change any information. So the beauty of the Google Colab is I can just right away write the code and then execute. And also I can add another layer of code text in between wherever I want to add and keep enhancing it. So till here we were basically, even the next one, we would be basically seeing how does I
So we have a question in
Yeah.
chat box, sir.
yeah.
Whether it is
Okay,
from
1 minute.
1992 to 2016 means 14 years of data.
So which data it is on? No, this is physical data. The sales data I meant to come. There is a data which is for the sales, which is below. These are all standard working set. This is where is the salary data comes in. This is where is the sales data coming in, etc. These are some standard set of data which I'm executing here. When we get into the actual set of data which we work in an Excel, I can show you for each year. These plots are defined based on what I define as a data set here. In which graph, in x-axis, this 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 is basically I defined a data here as a data set. It can be anything. That's why I put instead of years, I put months. Assuming the 10th month it has sold this much, 12th month, 13th month. So 10, 11, 12. It can be any data. It can be a month also. It can be year also. It can be 2020, 21, 22, 23. Even we can tell that it is year. It is a standard set of data, example data I had taken. In actual context, it can be an year, it can be some logical data, it can be some instrumental data, it can be some set of fields which it shows here. For example, it can be different products, it can be different types of payments, all those things can be possible. So the data set here, the only thing that is expected is the data. I would say that the data set is what you are passing. The chart doesn't have any correlation with what data it is. There is no chart separately for sales data. There is no chart separately for experience or salary data, etc. The chart is always a chart. You pass any x-axis data, y-axis data, it processes it. So only correlation that it expects is number of x-axis data and number of y-axis data should match. For example, if you had mentioned a data point of 10, if 10 to 20 is 11, then 11 set of data is what it will expect in y-axis as well. So there is no correlationship between telling that filling graph should only be used for this thing. It should not have year. It should not have something else. Time series is very specific for time. Rest all can have any data in the x-axis. Am I answered your question? Sorry, I couldn't get your question.
Sir, actually, when I do it in Colab, near the marker it shows positional argument follows keyword argument. So where exactly the problem I won't able to get it?
marker that is smaller O, not a capital O. That is one thing that I could really see because it shouldn't be a case insensitive, but probably we need to. You are doing it in which one? You are doing it in Jupyter or?
Sir, he has used double equal to sign. It should be
Correct, sir.
equal to, because
Okay,
he's
it's a
comparison.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Colab.
Can I proceed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I found that.
Okay, okay. Fine. So the next one is basically a filling area. So if I want to fill an area, I say that this is a line style. And I say fill between X and Y2. The fill is nothing but the area that I need to fill. So I can say this as, for an example. So this is basically the Y2 data is filled. So I see the current year data filled and see what is the boundary of last year data. Okay, so here again the fill between is an important parameter that differentiates the previous graph on this. If I add this particular line, I could basically fill the color in between. So all are a single line parameter that we use that comes into picture. Then the same way the bar chart is also, I say that one is bar, the other one is plot. Here both are plot. I can have a combinational chart where one layer is bar and the one is plot. So the only keyword that changes is instead of plot I use bar. So I have a bar chart which is shown for previous year and the current year it is shown as line chart. Now comes the data, the sample data that I am using here. I'll show you this data here. This is the salary data. If you see year of experience for various in a company, assuming that there are around 35 employees and their salaries has been put in here. So we are now going to calculate the year of experience information. So if I run this, enter the authorization code.
Sir, are you doing it on Collab? Because it is not visible to us. We are only seeing your presentation.
Oh, okay. Is my browser not visible for you?
Only your presentation is visible.
It is not visible.
Oh, okay, sorry. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
So I was doing it here. I think there was a confusion. I'll run it from the first, not a problem. So if you see here, this is what I was just telling. I was importing a couple of lines. There is import and then use style. I can basically see the result here. Then I use a plot of X and Y for the axis and show, basically it shows me the graph. Then I added 3 more parameters. This is the title, X label and Y label, demo data for NITPY, and then months and sales. Based on this, the data changes over here. This is done on Collab. Okay. Then comparing two data sets, 1 and 2, which is previous year, current year sales data. I can directly edit here and do it. So I can basically see here the data. Then current sales data, current year sold units. I can see the differences between last year and this year. Then I can specify different colors as well, blue, green, orange. etc. So here I added color, style, and the label and marker. Based on the color that I select, this comes in. Then coming the style of plot that I wanted to do, if I want to do the different style of plot and show the grid, this is where the grid is shown. Then the filling area, only one line additionally added telling fill orange. This is the one. This brings in the data. Again, I can just change all these things. Current year. So this is directly editable. So this Colab also I'll share it on this code also I'll share it along with the presentation. So current year, previous year data can be shown here. Then comes the bar plot. The only difference is I just make it as a bar instead of plot. Then I can see a bar coming bottom and then this thing. The next thing is the data set. This is where I
Sir.
came to know that you were not able to see the screen.
They're asking for demo how to use CSV files.
Hmm?
So in chat box, we
So
have
that is what I'm doing. So this is the CSV file that I have. So what I can do here is I can just go and upload here. Just drag and drop it here. I will be able to upload. That's how I uploaded it here. If you see salary.csv, the same file I dragged and dropped it here. So the file is available here. It is in content sample data salary. This is .csv. I'll just show you again. And I run this will ask me for a authorization. Okay. So here this CSV, whatever you are seeing here, has year-on-year experience. That's what you will be seeing here. For 35 employees, there is an experience, which can be viewed here also. So this data I am trying to plot it in a line plot. So I load a CSV using Panda, pd.read CSV, take the top 10 salaries, sort them, and then sort index, sort by index, then type of this thing is top 10 and put them in a frame. Now I got the data. This top 10 has the right data. Now this top 10 is pasted over here, and then the salary is a label, marker this O, color is royal blue, the line color is, marker face is K, which is this particular thing. I just change it to green or red. Okay, then top 10 salaries with corresponding experience is what it is. So when I run this report, I would be able to see the salaries of top 10 employees based on experience. Then comes the vertical, the same thing I show it in a bar chart, the same top 10 dot index I am taking and then putting it as a salary. The label is salary over here and a title. So the same information is plotted over here. Again in a horizontal bar chart is what is showing here. So the legend comes automatically where there is a space alignment. Here you see the legend at the top of the smaller bar. Here it comes at the bottom right of this thing. The library itself has a capability to arrange. So basically, this is what we have done. Then this is the same thing. You can run codes in blocks here. You don't have to necessarily write all the codes. And there is a bar chart which basically shows the employees and the year of experience. I'm just taking both the columns and then showing this information, percentage of salary. So total salary percentage is what shown here by doing a math. So how do we calculate percentages? We are putting 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7 just to, this is from a static data to show multiple information, as this has only 2 columns. Then we can do a pie chart as well, where the same example of 0 to 5 years, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. So it shows me information. The column, data column is also shown. It says years of experience 35, float, what is the data types. And if you see the chart, it shows 0 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, 10 to 15 years, 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, and this has been split. We use a, as I told you, I want to show a tangle. I want to just separate it and show the tangle out here. So this is what is done. The code again basically is defining each of them, length of this, length of this, length of this, and then sorting in this. Next, another salary, which is a static data for stack plot. How does it look like? Then an basically again a set of static data. This has both mix of static as well as an CSV upload. So legends is shown here with the stack coming over here. Next comes the histogram. The histogram basically shows bins as 0, 14. And then I'm taking a mean of data. Say experience is at X label and Y label is count of employees. So total count of employees and then experience based on this. If you see, the experience maximum is 14 years. These are the employees and the mean is 6.2. Whatever I showed in the PPT, the code is here. AXP line is the line which is basically used for mean. Then this scatter plot, this is again basically used on this data. DF of salary, DF of year of experience, salary and year of experience. Then when I run it, it scatters, it basically puts a edge color, black, the boundary, the size is 50, then the length width is 1, alpha is 0.75. So this shows this. And finally, now I'll show another chart, which is the sales data. If you see here, from 1992, how was the sales data for a particular this thing? So if I run this, it basically plots the data for each year, 1992. The time series, what it does is, based on number of years it is, it has a capability to organize itself, which means if I have 200 years here, it knows what is the intervals that he has to take. If it is 20 years, what is the interval it has to take? If it is 10 years, what it has to. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is here. If it is 7 years, it will show 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. If it is 20 years, it will place it accordingly so that the year placing is taken care. That's the advantage of time series over line chart. In line chart, if I put the same thing, it will start showing from 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, etc. Whereas time series knows how to space it by itself. Again, taking this CSV file, another CSV file to show the date. I'm telling PD.to date time is basically this date column. Then resample. This is what I was telling. Resample with the year and date. Do the sampling based on the year and the date. Then run the info. Execute this. Show the plot index, etc. and show this. So that's what I have for you to show the various charts. These are the charts that are available, and we had seen with both Excel as well as data sets samples using and creating multiple charts. Any questions? Be happy to answer. So this CSV file, this sample data, everything would be shared with the coordinator, and you will be getting this as part of your this thing, as part of your after the training. You will get all these materials. I'll be sharing it with the coordination team. They will be sharing this with you. And couple of links that I wanted to show you. Basically, one is this. Many of you would have seen how a COVID data is shown. This is the data that people would be showing from after the analysis. But what people would be more interested is to see the graphical data. If you see, this shows the pattern is coming down. This shows the pattern is again picking up. The active cases is little picking up. So not only that, if you compare this is one way of showing a chart where you show basically for a particular state how it is, how the cases are, is it on an increasing trend, decreasing trend, etc. You can show it on a uniform scale, non-uniform. So there are various moving average of every month. So how is the moving average? If it is daily, how do I show? So there are various ways. This data makes more interesting for me to see rather than a table and understanding what the pattern is. So that is where visualization plays a picture. Hats off to the team. This is an open source team who had done this. They had done a very, very, very brilliant job over here. It basically shows the density. You can see the density. You can see per lakh people, where is the more big circle, which is the most affected area, etc. So all this is possible because of data visualization. There are a lot of visualization tools that are available. And the other things, if for the sports enthusiasts,
The question has been asked, sir. Or these
yes,
graphs
these
made
are
in
done
Python.
using various libraries of this thing. You can use D34, D3J. You have many other chart libraries. MATLib is only two-dimensional. If you want to do multi-dimensional, there are a lot of libraries available. Most of them are done using Python only. So you can see from a IPL perspective, each team how they performed, how many wins, where and all, which is the number of matches played, which is the maximum match played place, how many times each team won, matchstick graph. There are a lot of other graphs that can be built. This is what is the donut. So there are many other charts that can be built. All these are possible by using Python. So these are some of the examples that I wanted to show you, and how various representation will make it look more appealing. So we'll share some of these links as well, so you can have it for your reference. So that's it from my end. Any questions?
Participants, do you have any questions, or we can end? I hope there is no question. Thank you very much for your clear and detailed presentation on data visualization presentations.